Okay, a very good morning, all of you. So we are back with our daily current affairs, which are totally based on the Hindu newspaper. Uh, so in in today's newspaper, we have some very important news. Number one is related to polity. In a judgment, uh, the Supreme Court has said that the central and all the states have equal rights or power to make GST related laws. तो हम लोगों ने बहुत चीजों में सुना है कि जो हमारे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है, दे आर द दे आर द सुप्रीम वन, उनके पास ज्यादा राइट्स होते हैं। एंड कोई भी चीज हो, हमेशा ऐसा कहा जाता है कि इंडिया में जो हमारी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है उसकी ही अथॉरिटी ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट एंड बड़ी होती है। बट अभी एससी या सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो वर्डिक्ट आया है नया, उसमें ये है कि जो स्टेट भी हैं वो भी जीएसटी रिलेटेड लॉ बना सकते हैं, और उनके लॉज भी उतने ही इम्पोर्टेंट हैं। वो उनके पास भी इक्वल राइट्स या इक्वल पावर्स हैं जैसे कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास हैं। तो देखते हैं हम इस न्यूज में क्या है। सो इन अ जजमेंट that confirms Gujarat High Court's ruling, the Supreme Court said that the union government cannot levy integrated goods and services tax on ocean freight from Indian importers. So जो भी इंडियन इम्पोर्टर्स हैं उन पर जो भी ओशियन फ्रेजेट एरिया में है, मतलब ओशियन के थ्रू जो सामान आता जाता है, उसके लिए ये टर्म यूज होता है, ओशियन फ्रेजेट। तो उस पर जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है वो इंटीग्रेटेड टैक्स नहीं लगा सकती। मतलब इट्स न्यू वर्डिक्ट व्हिच इज गिवन बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट। सो उनके ऊपर कोई भी इंटीग्रेटेड गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स नहीं लगेगा। The Apex Court further said that the union and state legislatures have equal, simultaneous and unique powers. So this is very important, that equal, simultaneous means दोनों के पास at the same time वो power है, and unique powers on GST related laws and the recommendation of the GST Council are not binding on them. Okay, so then while passing the ruling, the court highlighted constitutional articles, such as there are few constitutional articles जो कि support करते हैं कोर्ट के जो ruling है उसको। Number 1 is Article 246A. It provides the state's power to legislate on GST. So जो आर्टिकल 246A है, ये आर्टिकल्स आप याद रख सकते हैं, फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन है, प्रिलिमिनरी या फिर कोई भी ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चन जो होते हैं उनमें पूछी जा सकती है। सो आर्टिकल 246A बोलता है कि जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स हैं उनके पास भी पावर है जीएसटी रिलेटेड काम करने की, रूल्स बनाने। सो the court believed that the constitution through article 246 treats the union and the states as equal units and confers simultaneous power to the central and states for legislating laws on GST. So again, it is about giving, this article is about giving them equal rights to the central and as well as to the states for legislating laws on GST. Then we have the Article 279A. It talks about that a GST council is to be set up by the president to govern GST, and the union finance minister will be its chairperson. So इस लाइन में से कुछ takeaways हैं, with ministers from the state governments as its members. इस लाइन में takeaways important क्या है कि जो यूनियन फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर होंगे वो चेयरपर्सन होंगे जो कि जीएसटी काउंसिल होगी उनकी, एंड दिस जीएसटी काउंसिल इट विल बी गवर्न बाय it will be set up by the president of India. Okay, so this is also important. इसमें जो छोटे छोटे इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं वो एक बार फिर से बता देती हूँ. जीएसटी काउंसिल सेटअप होगी जो कि प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया सेटअप करेंगे जीएसटी रूल्स बनाने के लिए, जिसके की यूनियन फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर चेयरपर्सन होंगे. उनके साथ कुछ मिनिस्टर्स होंगे जो कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से होंगे. सो ऑब्वियसली ये दिखा रहा है कि जो जीएसटी काउंसिल है उसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के मिनिस्टर्स हैं वो हैं, बट ऑल्सो देयर आर मिनिस्टर्स हु आर फ्रॉम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. सो दिस बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. छोटी सी लाइन है बट इसमें काफी सारे टेक अवेज हैं. Then the council will make recommendation to the union and the states on important issues related to GST. Okay, so this is also simple that union and the state the council will help both of them to, they will give recommendation to any kind of issue related to GST. The Supreme Court bench interpreted that the article foresees that neither the union nor the state is dependent on the other. Now this is something important कि ये जो जीएसटी रिलेटेड जो भी लॉज होंगे उसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टेट और यूनियन एक दूसरे पर डिपेंडेंट है. they are quite independent and they can have their own laws. Okay. Then the court further said that the union and the state were autonomous. So autonomous, they are independent. Independent and competing units with respect to GST laws. The court urged the union and the state to operate in a harmonious manner. So there it means that there should be no clash when it comes to the matters related to GST. मतलब ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के बीच और यूनियन गवर्नमेंट के बीच कोई क्लैश हो रहा है कि इतना परसेंट लगाना है या उतना परसेंट लगाना है या हमको ऐसे टैक्स कलेक्ट करना है या whatever can be the issue. बिकॉज उससे क्या होता है कि कहीं ना कहीं जब हार्मनी डिसरप्ट होती है स्टेट एंड यूनियन गवर्नमेंट में, तो इट इज हार्मफुल फॉर द फेडरलिज्म, इट इज हार्मफुल फॉर द डेमोक्रेसी अल्टीमेटली. So this is the case. Okay, so to operate in a harmonious manner as it is necessary for the well-being of the nation and that fiscal security can be achieved by collaboration and contestations between the two tiers of the government. Okay. Okay, so this was it about this news. इसमें बस यही जिस्ट है कि दोनों गवर्नमेंट वेदर यूनियन वेदर स्टेट दोनों के पास इक्वल राइट्स हैं. दैट्स इट. दोनों आर्टिकल्स इंपॉर्टेंट हैं. यू शुड नो व्हाट दीज आर्टिकल्स आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एंड उनके बारे में डिटेल्स. जीएसटी काउंसिल के बारे में थोड़ा पता होना चाहिए. Okay, so the next news that we have today is from the topic environment. Now there is this news जो कि एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग पॉलिसी के बारे में बात कर रही है इंडिया की. सो इसके बारे में हम देखते हैं क्या क्या की टेकअवेज हैं इस आज के न्यूज में. सो द यूनियन कैबिनेट अप्रूव्ड amendments to the national policy on biofuels 2018. So there was this policy of national policy on biofuels 2018. So there are some kind of amendments in this policy now, which requires the fuel companies to increase the percentage of ethanol in petrol to 20%. Okay, 20%. So this increase of ethanol, which is 20%, it is actually as called E20. Okay, so earlier जो ये नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन बायोफ्यूल था 2018, इसमें था कि बाय 2030 तक हम 20% एथेनॉल इन पेट्रोल का वो मिक्सचर करेंगे। बट अभी ये जो नया अमेंडमेंट आया उसमें दे आर सेइंग कि ये बाय 2025 हो जाना चाहिए। सो 5 साल पहले ही करने का ये लोग कोशिश करते हैं। ओके, देन एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग एक्चुअली है क्या? लेट्स जस्ट लुक इनटू दिस। So ethanol is an agro based. So agro based मतलब agricultural based, कोई ऐसी चीज जो एग्रीकल्चर से पैदा हो रही है, प्रोडक्ट। Okay, so it is a agriculture based product mainly produced from a byproduct of the sugar industry, namely molasses. So molasses एक मीठा लिक्विड तो नहीं होता है प्रॉपर, बट थोड़ा लिक्विड सॉलिड के बीच का हम बोल सकते हैं, मोलासिस जैसे गुड़ होता है। तो ये जो एथेनॉल है ये एक्चुअली शुगर इंडस्ट्री मतलब शुगर केन का एक तरीके से हम बोल सकते हैं बाय प्रोडक्ट होता है। सो अब हम ये देखते हैं कि एक्चुअली ऐसा क्यों गवर्नमेंट चाह रही है कि हमको ये 5 years पहले ही कर देना चाहिए। एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग अगर हम करते हैं इन पेट्रोल तो उसके क्या फायदे हैं, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, लेट्स जस्ट लुक इनटू दैट। एंड एथेनॉल ब्लेंड is defined as a blended motor fuel containing ethyl alcohol. So this is important. Ethanol blending is basically about it is about a fuel which is blended in the petrol or mainly petrol. Okay, और ये एक्चुअली 99% तक प्योर होता है और जो कि जैसा कि मैंने बताया इट इज ड्राइव्ड फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चरल products and blended exclusively with petrol. So petrol में ethyl alcohol जो कि derive किया जाता है from the agricultural product, उसको blend करके use किया जाता है for as fuel. Then ethanol blending seeks to blend ethanol with motor fuel, which helps in reducing pollution. These are the takeaways: reducing pollution, conserving foreign exchange, and increasing value addition in the sugar industry. Now, इनको थोड़ा सा समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, which ultimately helps farm. देखो, because we already know that in India we import a lot of petrol and other fuels. So अगर हम एथेनॉल की ब्लेंडिंग करने लगते हैं पेट्रोल में तो बहुत सारा पेट्रोल, मतलब अगर हमें 1 लीटर पेट्रोल चाहिए तो उसमें हम कुछ अमाउंट अगर एथेनॉल का डालेंगे तो जो अमाउंट हम एथेनॉल का डालेंगे तो उतना हमें कम डालना पड़ेगा। तो इससे क्या होगा, हमारा जो इम्पोर्ट है वो कम हो जाएगा, जिससे कि हमारा जो पैसा है वो बचेगा। एंड एथेनॉल बिकॉज इट इज अ प्रोडक्ट विच इज नेचुरल एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्ट है तो उससे पोल्यूशन भी कम होगा। और अल्टीमेटली वी आर गोइंग टू हैव फार्मर्स, क्योंकि हम फार्मर्स से परचेज करेंगे ये शुगर, जब उनकी शुगर की खेती होगी तो उनसे हम परचेज करके एथेनॉल बनाएंगे। तो उससे कहीं ना कहीं हमारे जो फार्मर्स हैं उनको लाभ मिलेगा, उनको पैसा मिलेगा। सो दीज आर द थिंग्स which it will bring. As ethanol burns more completely than petrol, it prevents the emission of carbon monoxide. So it burns completely than petrol. So petrol से we have more emission of carbon monoxide and other gases, but जो हमारा ethanol है क्योंकि वो completely burn हो जाता है तो उससे pollution के उतने chances नहीं होते क्योंकि emission जो है वो कम हो जाता है। However, studies have shown that there is no reduction in the emission of nitrous oxide, which is one of the key environmental pollutants. So this is also important कि जो studies है वो ये बताती हैं कि ethanol अगर blending है भी पेट्रोल में तब भी उससे जो नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड की एमिशन है वो कम नहीं होती है, जो कि एक्चुअली एक बहुत ही बड़ा एक फैक्टर है एनवायरमेंटल पोल्यूशन। ओके, देन थोड़ा सा हिस्ट्री देखते हैं कि एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग इंडिया में कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ, कैसे ये कंसेप्ट आया, एंड व्हाट आर दी for the waste. For the last 20 years, India is looking to develop an ecosystem to have more ethanol blended into petrol for the use of vehicles. So according to government report, about 75% of India's 22 crore vehicles are two-wheel. So 75% in India, there are approximately 22 crores vehicles. बहुत ज़्यादा ये data याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है, but just to have an idea. तो जो 75% है, they are two-wheelers and 12% are four-wheelers mostly. So India has been examining the viability of using ethanol blended petrol since 2001. So ये जो बात चल रही है, actually ये examine चल रहा है, इसके ऊपर जो भी काम चल रहा है, actually 2001 से चल रहा है. And initially it was about 5%, मतलब कि 5% ethanol होगा and 95% petrol. Initially 5%. In 2002, the government announced the ethanol blended petrol program. So this is in 2002 when the government introduced this ethanol blended petrol program. Okay, so just remember this. And started selling 5% ethanol blended petrol in a few states and union territories. So it initially started in a few states and union territories, and however, until 2013 and 14, the percentage of blending did not cross 1.5%. So जो program था वो तो actually था कि 5% जो ethanol है वो blending होनी ही चाहिए, but actually on ground level it was just 1.5%. Hence in 2015. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways issued that E5, which is ethanol 5%, petrol and the rubber and plastic components used in gasoline vehicle produced since 2008 should be compatible with the ethanol 10 fuel. So after ethanol 5 in 2015, it was ethanol 10. Matlab, there will be 10% blending of ethanol. And in 2019, the ministry notified ethanol 10. The government has already let standard for ethanol E20 and E85 and even E100. So they are preparing for the future कि future में ऐसा होगा कि ethanol 85 मतलब there will be 85% of ethanol and only 15% of petrol, and उससे भी आगे ethanol 100 भी होगा, तो मतलब 100% ethanol को ही as fuel use किया जाएगा. Now switching to E20 blending, क्या outcomes हो सकते हैं. So India's net import of petroleum was estimated to be 185 million tons. Okay, so जो कि cost करता है around $55 billion in 2020 and 21 year. So most of India's petroleum imports are used by automobiles, and hence successful implementation of E20 program would help save us around 30,000 crore per year. So now as we know कि mostly जो भी petroleum import करता है India वो सारे automobiles पे use होता है mostly. तो अगर ये E20 program implement हो जाता है and if there is blending of 20%, then it will definitely help us in saving 30,000 crore per year. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी saving हो जाएगी, and वो किसी जो भी पैसा बचेगा that can be used in some other good welfare work. So yeah, this is a good thing. So a report by NITI Aayog has provided a comprehensive framework of ethanol blending, which includes challenges and a roadmap. So there is also a report by NITI Aayog. To achieve E20 blending, the committee foresees ethanol demand of 1,016 crore liter And considering the increase in the number of electric vehicles, there would be a demand of 722 to 921 crore liter of ethanol in 2025. So obviously the demand will then increase. However, India's current ethanol production is about 426 crore liter. So अभी काफी कम है, जितना चाहिए उससे काफी कम है. Okay, so yeah, nothing else is important here. This is expected to rise to 760 crore liter and 740 crore liters respectively, out of which 1016 crore liter of ethanol would be required to for blending purposes and 334 crore liter for other uses. So इतना बढ़ सकता है जो कि 760 करोड़ लीटर या फिर 740 करोड़ लीटर्स है. So this would require about 6 million tons of sugar and 16.5 million tons of grains per annum in 2015. So obviously we have to increase sugarcane ka production in order to fulfill the needs or the grains ka. Okay, so this is it for this news. Then we have another news which is related to the social justice, which talks about bridging the health policy to execution charge. So actually the union government has released a guidance document, okay, on the setting up of a public health and management cadre, along with the revised edition of Indian Public Health Standards. So there is a revision in the Indian Public Health Standard, and they have given us a document which will be guiding us for setting up public health and management cadre. So इसमें कुछ इतना important नहीं था, but still I have brought this because थोड़ा सा आपको पता होना चाहिए कि actually when it is started and what is happening in present scenario. So it actually started national health policy. It started in 2017, and then 2018 में नेशनल लेवल का एक मीटिंग हुआ था जो कि नीति आयोग ने ऑर्गेनाइज किया था. Then in 2019 model structures prepared and discussed with Niti Aayog and states for inputs. So there was the whole structure which was prepared, and then it was discussed with the Niti Aayog and the states for their inputs. Then obviously we know there was a COVID pandemic. So then during this COVID, we also learned that we actually need to have a very robust public health surveillance, and because we have a lot of population in our country, and COVID taught us so much, in fact, to the entire world. So we understood this need, that there is need for public health and better management. Then in 2020, expert committee constituted with principal secretaries and mission directors of state UT and Niti Aayog, all NHSRC and WHO, etc. are also the members. Then in 2021, approval of the structure and the principle by HFM. Okay. So there is this much is needed. ओके सो अभी एक न्यूज है जो कि पेंगोंग लेक की है. उसपे जो पेंगोंग ब्रिज है वहां पे कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है, विच इज सेड इज ऑक्यूपाइड टेरिटरी. सो इसमें क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है वो देख लेते हैं. It is said that a broad bridge connecting both sides of Pangong Lake was being constructed, which would reduce the time for the People's Liberation Army to move troops, while a small bridge was built to support the construction of the main one. So earlier, the People's Liberation Army had to take a roundabout crossing the Rudolph County, but the bridge is expected to provide direct access. So now people can, directly go, and they do not have to go through that roundabout. So the Ministry of External Affairs said that India is closely monitoring the construction of a bridge by China on the Pangong Toswa Lake is eastern Ladakh, which is in occupied territory. So it is said that वो जो territory है, जो area है, it is of India, and it is actually occupied by the China. So वहाँ पे जो Ministry of External Affairs है, they are saying of India, obviously, they are saying that they are they are making a bridge there. So yeah, that's it. This bridge is this lake is in Ladakh, and it has some of its part in Tibet also. So that's it for this month. This news. Then there is another news that we have, which is of Made in India skin test for TB to be launched. So there is this Made in India skin test. ओके, सो इसका जो है आपको पता होना चाहिए कि कौन सा टेस्ट है, क्या नाम है, किस से रिलेटेड है, ये इसलिए मैं लेकर आई हूँ बिकॉज ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट है ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से. सो इंडिया इज ऑल सेट टू इंट्रोड्यूस अ न्यूली अप्रूव्ड मेड इन इंडिया TB infection skin test called CTB. So this is the name which you have to remember. Okay, so this could be asked in any of the exams. This is said to be a cost-effective tool and will also be beneficial to other high-burden countries as well. So ये बहुत ही cost-effective होगा, सस्ता होगा, जो कि easily affordable रहेगा, and बाकी countries को भी ये helpful रहेगा. So we will also be exporting. So then the health minister said that adopt people with TB will be launched in 2022. So this is it from this particular news. Then I have a question for you people, which is on the Pangong Lake. So which of the following statements is or are correct about Pangong Lake? So number one is it is world's second highest salt water lake. Number two, it is located in Ladakh. So which one would be correct? Number one is saying it is the second highest salt water lake. World's. The important key is here world's. They're not talking about India's or Asia, but they're talking about world's. So which option will be correct? Option A is only 1, B is only 2, C 1 and 2 both, D none of the above. So let me tell you, it is world's not second, but the first highest salt lake. So option 1 is wrong, and it is located in Ladakh. Yes, true. So option B will be correct. So this is it for today. I'll meet you in the next session. Thank you so much and have a nice, keep learning.